Hey guys, it's Heather. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have this dark fairy look for you guys. It has a lot of inspiration from the woods behind my house, which I am in all the time. So if you guys want to see how I did this look, then just keep watching. So I'm taking a cup to use it kind of as a stencil so I can trace around it and get a circle in the center of my chest. And I'm just using a brown eyeliner to do so. You can really use whatever you want. You could use paints or a different color eyeliner, you know, whatever you want. So yeah. So I'm taking two water activated paints. The one I'm using right here is a dark brown. Water activated means that you can't use it dry. You do have to add water to it for it to work, and it becomes creamy, and then it's just like really pigmented product at that point. You can water it down a little bit more to make it not so pigmented. They're pretty versatile and pretty cool in that aspect. So I decided that I wanted to do an orb in the center of my chest because, you know, fairies have magic, and that's where I wanted my magic to be. And then I was trying to think, like, how could I make, you know, how would she like hold the magic on her? Would it be like inside of her or whatever? And I was like, oh, I should do branches kind of holding it on to where they look like they're wrapping around back and like on my back, holding the orb in the center of my chest. So that is what I was going for. I have woods behind my house, and I'm always back there walking my dogs or walking with my son. So I take a lot of inspiration from nature. I absolutely love anything like outdoors, naturey, plants, all of it. So I figured that was a pretty good place to get my inspiration from for this look. So I just kind of paid attention to vines and branches and twigs and all that kinds of stuff to see, you know, what would look a little bit more realistic. And I showed you guys my phone a minute ago, and that was because I was showing you that I had tried this look, just the branches, 2 times before this one, just to see what would work, what didn't work, you know, if it was going to totally suck, all that kinds of stuff. So practice definitely helps to get it better. So once I had my branches on, I did them thin and then thickened them up. Once I had them where I liked them, then I kind of do some spiked shapes, and then I do some where I'm drawing it a little bit further out and making them thinner towards the end, and then putting tiny little branches on them. And for the stem, the branch themselves, I did like to make them a little bit thicker in some parts, thinner in other parts, just based on, like, you know, what some sticks look like. Some of them have like knots and then stuff like that. So I didn't like when I had practiced it and done them very consistently and kept them pretty much the same. I liked it better this way, where, you know, they're a little bit inconsistent, thicker, thinner, all that. And I just added branches all over, little twigs onto the branches, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So now that the branches are how I want them, I'm taking the lighter brown, it's like a tan colored water activated paint, and just putting little, just like random streaks through it, and then kind of blending it out a little bit with that same brush. I didn't do it everywhere on the branch, but I did try to put it like through quite a bit of it, just because I thought it looked a little bit more real, gave it a little bit more dimension, and it just looked a little bit cooler. I did try to take some of it and put it more towards what would be the top of the branches, just to highlight them a little bit. But you definitely don't have to. Just because it is a tan color, I didn't go in with like a white or anything. I just used these ones. So now I'm going in with a medium toned matte brown, and I'm just adding a little bit of a shadow underneath the sticks, because, you know, if you really had some sticks and branches and stuff on your shoulders and your arm and your chest area, it would kind of cast a shadow a little bit below it. So I'm just putting that on just really roughly, and then just going in with my finger and blending it out. It does not need to be perfect. I just wanted it to cast a little shadow. Definitely make sure that you do this with a matte shadow though, because I mean, a shimmery shadow would be a little bit strange, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so now I'm speeding up the other side a little bit because I'm gonna do the exact same thing onto this side of my body, except that it's gonna be a lot more difficult because I am not left-handed. So it took me quite a lot more time to do this side, but once I started getting it down, I was like, you know what? The branches, they're supposed to have like weird little twigs everywhere, and like it's okay. It goes a lot faster. I have tried several times to teach myself to be able to body paint and be ambidextrous, but so far it's just not going very well. But you know, that's okay. I also did not want to keep these the same on each side. I wanted them to be different just because, I mean, I pictured like if I was an actual fairy and I was like, you know, I want to take branches and strap this orb on me and keep my magic in it, they wouldn't be exactly the same. You'd be picking up different sticks from all different plants and stuff like that. So I didn't place them like the exact same spots. I just kind of did them randomly because, you know, that's what my fairy self would do. And then shading that side as well on the bottoms of each branch. If you guys decide to recreate any of my work, or if you draw any inspiration from it and do a look, feel free to like DM me or tag me in it, everything. I love seeing stuff like that from you guys. So yeah, feel free to reach out, tag me, whatever way that you prefer. So now I'm going to work on the orb. I'm going in with several different colors of water activated paints. I used dark blues, light blues, turquoises, teals, pinks, hot pink, light pink, dark purple, light purple, silver. I used everything. So yeah, I'm just using a small stippling brush and using stippling motions and placing that on kind of like in a donut shape around the orb for now. Just because I didn't want to add darkness to the middle of it. I want that to be the center point where like it kind of looks like a light's coming out. That's the lightest point of the entire orb. So I didn't want to put any darkness in there because I would just have to remove it later. Going in with some purple over top of the blues. And then pink. And the pink I did take to the center of it because I felt like it was light enough to where it wouldn't make that big of a difference. And then with this silver color, I did swirl my brush around in the middle just because I do want that, like I said, to be the kind of focal point of the chest piece. So I'm using my NYX glitter glue and this NYX glitter, and I'm going to pat this onto the orb. I swirled it at first, and then I was like, oh my gosh, because I remembered that it does take the paint up a little bit. So patting motions all the way. And I'm patting that really thick in the center of the orb and then kind of thinner as it like fades out of the center of it. And then patting on the glitter because, you know, you don't want to swipe the glitter on. You will end up with glitter everywhere, your carpet, your everything, your chair, all of it. And all you glitter lovers know that once glitter is there, like, it's your homie. It's going nowhere. You can vacuum 15,000 times and it's still going to be there. The little specks of glitter. That's just how it is. The price we pay to be glittery and beautiful, right? So I'm adding more glitter glue right to the center of the orb and putting a ton of glitter right in the middle because I wanted it to be really thick. And I did kind of make it a little bit thinner as it went out towards the branches. Just by kind of picking up a little bit less glitter on my finger and patting it on the edges of my orb. So now that the glitter is done and it is dry, I'm taking the NYX matte liquid liner in black and doing all these little tiny lines going around it to where it's kind of in a circle. I didn't take it all the way to the center. I just kind of worked around it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like a portal kind of thing. Then I also used the white after the black and did the same thing just to give it a little bit more dimension and color. Just a little bit of pop of something extra. So now I'm going in with the white and just doing the same little lines. And now I'm taking that shadow that I used to shade the branches and I'm just shading in kind of like a half moon kind of shape underneath the orb, because like I said, it would be sitting on top of our skin, so it would be casting some type of shadow. So I just kind of put it on really lightly and then just blend it out with my fingers. So now to give myself some brows, I'm using a medium toned brown shadow and just placing that on with an angled brush and, you know, making myself some brows. Taking my concealer on a small flat brush, I'm just going to clean up underneath my brows and around the tail. So when I start to blend it out, if I have a little bit too much product, I wipe it on like a paper towel or whatever I have nearby that's clean, just to get the excess product off of it, and it helps to blend everything out. I'm just making sure I have a nice clean line. So using the same concealer, I'm just going to prime my eye with that. Patting that in with a blending sponge and then setting it with my face powder. You can use like an eyeshadow, a pressed powder, a translucent powder, whatever works for you, just similar to your skin tone. And then when you set the concealer or primer, whatever you're using as your base, it just helps the shadows to go on a lot smoother. Yeah, that way it's not sticky and tacky and you don't get patchiness. So I'm going in with a light pink shadow and I'm putting that into my crease as my transition. And then going in with a hot pink shadow, I'm popping that lower into my crease. Just making sure I blend really well. And now that that is there, I'm going to add some purple and some turquoise blue shadow. I like mixed them together. So yeah, basically just use them both at the same time. You'll see me kind of go in and add more of the turquoise, more of the purple, stuff like that. I just was making sure that it balanced out the way that I wanted it to. And I'm focusing that mostly on the outer part of my lid and my crease, and then bringing it in a little bit, but keeping it quite low in comparison to the hot pink and the light pink. So now I'm using my concealer to cut my crease. I'm only doing a half cut crease, so I'm going about halfway across my lid and then patting that out with my fingertip just to make sure that it helps it blend and all that, so that way you don't have this really harsh pigmented line when I go in with my shadows and try to like blend the two together. And yeah, I'm just working in really small sections, and then I do look up just to see if it's going to transfer, and if it does, I go slightly above that. That way we don't have any shadow transfer up to our crease. And then I set that with what was left of my face powder. Going in with a holographic shadow, I'm just patting that all over the area that we cut our crease, blending where the two shadows meet, and then patting on some glitter from NYX and using some NYX glitter glue. I took it along the cut crease where it meets the purple shadow, and I didn't take it all the way across the lid where we put the holographic shadow. I just kind of brought it down a little bit. Now taking the NYX liquid liner in black, I'll also be using white. I'm doing a very messy kind of winged liner, graphic liner type eye look. So yeah, I'm just taking short little strokes and just bringing them out. I did like a wing shape and then making it quite messy. That's literally what I wanted. And then along the cut crease part, I'm kind of bringing it out to where it kind of looks like wing shapes. It reminded me of like feathers or wings, stuff like that, which I thought was kind of fitting with, I mean, you know, it's a fairy, we have wings, so it works. Now going into the white liner, I'm doing the same thing, just kind of random strokes all over, trying to tie it into the orb on my chest. And before that liner dries, my lashes are really long, so I did pull it off my lashes before it could dry, just because I didn't want to have an issue later on trying to get it off of my lashes. Now going over my foundation, I'm just patting that all over my face using a sponge. Adding some lashes. I wanted some that were super tapered and but still like dramatic and pretty. I thought it just really worked with this look. And I did add a little bit of mascara prior to applying my lashes. So going into the NYX color correcting palette, I'm using the salmon color and the yellow. The salmon is going to correct any darkness, and the yellow just really brightens up my skin, my under eye area, and then it makes it to where I can use a lot less concealer. And I had a dog hair stuck to my face. That's what I kept trying to get off. My dog is just super furry, super soft, but she sheds like crazy, so the struggle is real. Adding some concealer to all the high points of my face that I want to highlight. And I go in with two. I use this shade and then I go in with a little bit lighter of a shade and I just mix the two. And then just blending that in with a sponge. So I set my face off camera, but now I'm going in to finish my eyes. I'm taking the purple, turquoise, and hot pink shades and just taking them under my lower lash line and then blending it out. And then I'll be taking a black eyeliner pencil and just putting it along the lower lash line, and then about halfway I kind of drop it down a little bit so it's not completely following my eye shape. And then I do go in with a brush and just give that a little bit of a blend. Highlighting the inner corner of my eye. And then I decided to take what was left on my brush and this was what I used in my crease, and bringing it down my nose a little bit to tie the contour in together. Here I'm going into the same shadows I put in my crease, the purple, the turquoise, and a tiny bit of the hot pink, and just putting that in all the contour areas of my face to tie the entire look together. So I'm putting it here, on my forehead, my jawline, underneath my bottom lip, all the places that I personally contour my face normally. And then taking my sponge and whatever, I didn't add anything to it, just whatever's left on it, and just cleaning up the contour lines, and also just really going over at all the powder on my face, just make sure that it's really, really soaked into my makeup and my skin. You know, we want it super blended. I popped on some blue flowers onto our little vines and branches. For lips, I'm using the NYX Liquid Suede Liquid Lipstick in black. This does dry down matte, but I did take a holographic highlighter and I popped that on the center of the lips, on the top and the bottom, and then kind of rubbed it in a little bit while it's still a little bit wet, but barely wet, kind of more on the tacky side, and just made sure it was blended. And then taking a little stencil of a rose, I'm patting on some black body paint, and then make sure you wait till either it dries or lift it straight up carefully. So that's the look, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.